All right, let's talk about understanding people. We're about to dive into a masterclass pulled directly from Robert Greene's most ambitious work. Have you ever helped someone only to have them betray you later? Or how about this one? Why do we sometimes torpedo our own success right when things are finally looking up? These moments aren't random. They're driven by hidden patterns in human nature, patterns that have been running the show for thousands of years. In this breakdown, we're going to walk through all 18 of Robert Greene's laws of human nature, giving you a serious advantage in basically every conversation or situation you'll ever be in. By the end, you won't just see the world differently, you'll see right through it. Let's get into it. Section 1. The Law of Irrationality. The first, and maybe the most important law, is the law of irrationality. Master your emotional self. We all love to think of ourselves as logical beings, making smart choices based on reason. That's a fantasy we tell ourselves. The truth is, our judgment is constantly clouded by deep-seated emotions and impulses we're not even aware of. That emotional pull is what makes you hit send on an angry email you immediately regret, or splurge on something you can't afford because you got caught up in the moment. Your first job isn't to get rid of emotion, it's to understand its power. Before you react to anything, just pause. Create some distance. Ask yourself, where is this feeling really coming from? And does it actually help me in the long run? Get a handle on your emotional self, and you'll be much harder to manipulate and a far better decision maker. Section 2. The Law of Narcissism. Next up, the Law of Narcissism. Transform self-love into empathy. Narcissist gets thrown around as an insult, but Greene's point is that we're all on the narcissism spectrum. A healthy dose of self-love is vital, but toxic, deep narcissism traps a person in their own little world, making real connection impossible. The way out is empathy. And this isn't about feeling sorry for people. It's about actively trying to understand their point of view, their values, and what makes them insecure. Try listening more than you talk. Watch their body language. When you turn that self-absorption into genuine curiosity about other people, you build incredibly powerful bonds and gain unbelievable social insight. Section 3. The Law of Role-Playing. This brings us to the Law of Role-Playing. See through people's masks. Think of life as a giant theater where everyone is wearing a costume. People put on a carefully polished front to look competent, confident, and kind. But behind that mask, their real motives are often a completely different story. Your task is to become a master people watcher. Look for the cracks in the performance. Notice the gaps between what they say and what they do. A quick flash of disappointment, a subtle change in tone. These are the little signals that tell you what's really going on under the surface. Gem Section 4. The Law of Compulsive Behavior. Law number 4 is the Law of Compulsive Behavior. Determine the strength of people's character. People can say whatever they want, but their true character is revealed in their repeated actions. We are all creatures of habit, unconsciously repeating the same patterns over and over. Someone who is flaky once will probably be flaky again. Someone who cuts corners on a small thing will likely do it on a big one. So never judge a person by one action or by what they claim their intentions are. Judge them by their observable, long-term patterns. It's the only reliable way to know their integrity, their resilience, and who they really are. Section 5. The Law of Covetousness. Now we get to a major driver of human motivation, the law of covetousness, or become an elusive object of desire. We are fundamentally wired to want what we can't have. The second something is off limits, far away, or belongs to someone else, its value shoots through the roof. That's the engine of desire. You can use this. In a world where everyone overshares and is always available, cultivate a little mystery. Don't put all your cards on the table at once. Create some scarcity. When you're less accessible, you're seen as more valuable, and you become a magnet for people's thoughts and desires. Section 6. The Law of Short-Sightedness. Next, we have to tackle the law of short-sightedness. Elevate your perspective. The human brain is built to focus on what's right in front of us. We chase immediate pleasure and run from immediate pain, completely ignoring the long-term fallout of our choices. This tyranny of the present is why we make so many bad decisions. You have to train yourself to fight this pull. Look beyond the current crisis or temptation. Think 2 or 3 steps ahead. What are the ripple effects of this decision? If you can develop a strategic, long-term mindset, you'll sidestep the traps that catch almost everyone else. Section 7. The Law of Defensiveness. The 7th law is a masterclass in influence. The law of defensiveness. Soften people's resistance by confirming their self-opinion. People hate being told they're wrong or that they need to change. If you challenge someone's core beliefs head-on, they'll just dig in their heels and shut you down. The art of persuasion is all about being indirect. Instead of attacking their ego, validate it. Acknowledge their intelligence, their hard work, or their good intentions. Then frame your idea in a way that aligns with their values. By making them feel secure, you lower their defenses and make them receptive to your influence. Section 8. The Law of Self-Sabotage. This is one of the most tragic laws. The law of self-sabotage. Change your circumstances by changing your attitude. More often than not, we are our own worst enemy. Our attitude, our deep-seated view of ourselves and the world, literally shapes our reality. If someone feels unworthy of success, they will unconsciously make choices that guarantee failure, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you feel stuck in a negative loop, the problem probably isn't your circumstances, it's your attitude. Cultivating a mindset of optimism, resilience, and adaptability isn't just fluffy, positive thinking. It's a practical tool for smashing destructive patterns and opening up a new reality. Section 9. The Law of Repression. Time to face the darkness. With the law of repression, confront your dark side. We all have a shadow self, the part of us that holds all the feelings we don't want to admit to, like our envy, aggression, and selfishness. We push these things down and pretend they don't exist. But repressed energy never just disappears. It rots and leaks out as passive aggression, anxiety, or bizarre outbursts. Real authenticity comes from acknowledging and integrating this shadow. Look at those repressed feelings. Understand where they came from. By confronting your dark side, you can actually harness its energy for constructive purposes and become a more complete and powerful person. Section 10. The Law of Envy. The 10th law is a warning against a silent poison. The law of envy. Beware the fragile ego. Envy is one of the most powerful and universal human emotions, but it's almost always disguised as something else, like moral criticism. To admit you're envious is to admit you feel inferior, so people will do anything to hide it. But it's always lurking, ready to poison relationships and inspire sabotage. You have to be alert. Learn the subtle tells of envy, faint praise, overly personal criticism, or a little too much delight in your misfortunes. Meanwhile, get a handle on your own envy by practicing gratitude. And when you do find success, learn to be discreet. Don't needlessly show off and provoke the fragile egos around you. Section 11. The Law of Grandiosity. Success has its own traps, which brings us to the law of grandiosity. Control your ego. A little bit of success can be a dangerous thing. It can inflate your ego and make you lose touch with reality. You start believing your own hype, feeling like you have the magic touch and can't possibly fail. This sense of superiority is always the first step before a huge fall. The solution is to stay grounded in reality. Actively listen to feedback, especially from people who criticize you. Remind yourself that your success came from hard work and luck, not from being a genius. Anchor your self-worth to your work ethic and your purpose, not to the applause you get from others. Section 12. The Law of Gender Rigidity. Law 12 asks us to open our minds with the law of gender rigidity, reconnect to the feminine or masculine within. Society loves to push us into rigid gender boxes, telling men to suppress their empathetic side and women to suppress their assertive side. This cuts us off from half of our potential. The truth is, everyone has a unique mix of masculine and feminine qualities. Real creativity and mental power come from embracing your full nature. You need to blend your rational thinking with your intuition, and your assertiveness with your empathy. This internal harmony will make your thinking more flexible, creative, and powerful. Section 13. The Law of Aimlessness. This law gets to the core of human motivation. The law of aimlessness. Advance with a sense of purpose. A person without a purpose is like a ship without a rudder, just drifting along at the mercy of the winds. This aimlessness leads to a life of distraction, indecision, and quiet desperation. You have to find and commit to a purpose. This is what gives your life direction, urgency, and meaning. Figure out your core values and set long-term goals that actually matter to you. A clear purpose works like an internal compass, guiding all of your daily decisions and helping you push through the hard times that are guaranteed to come. Section 14. The Law of Conformity. Next, we need to learn how to resist the law of conformity. Resist the pull of the group. As social creatures, we are incredibly vulnerable to group influence. This pull can be so intense that it makes us abandon our own judgment, leading us to adopt beliefs and behaviors we'd never choose on our own. This is the trap of groupthink. To be a true individual, you have to develop the skill of detaching yourself from the group's emotional mood. Be aware of social pressure and how it affects you. While you have to know how to fit in, you must never lose your ability to think for yourself and hold on to your unique perspective. Section 15. The Law of Fickleness. This law is all about building emotional armor. The law of fickleness, accept the ebbs and flows of popularity. Public opinion is a roller coaster. The same people who praise you today might be the ones throwing stones tomorrow. If you tie your self-worth to what other people think, you're signing up for a life of anxiety. You need to develop an internal scorecard. Your focus should be on your own standards, your mission, and your principles. Don't get too high on the praise or too low on the criticism. Your value comes from you, not from the shifting winds of popular opinion. Section 16. The Law of Aggression Law. 16 tackles a raw part of our nature, the law of aggression. Know how to use and defend against aggression. Aggression is a primal human tool, and it's essential for overcoming challenges and defending yourself. Society tells us to suppress it, but that just forces it underground where it comes out in manipulative or passive-aggressive ways. Your job is to understand and control this powerful force. Learn to spot aggressive moves in all their forms, from subtle digs to open attacks. Train yourself to respond strategically instead of emotionally. And cultivate your own capacity for controlled, assertive action so you can protect your boundaries and move your goals forward. Section 17. The Law of Generational Myopia. The 17th law asks us to zoom out with the law of generational myopia, see the historical forces behind the present. Every generation is molded by the unique events and social vibes of its time. The problem is, each generation tends to think its own values and experiences are universal, failing to see the bigger picture. To gain real wisdom, you have to look at history and generational patterns. If you understand the forces that shaped your parents' generation and the ones shaping young people today, you gain a massive insight into why people act the way they do right now. It lets you see the whole board. Section 18, the Law of Death Denial. And finally, we arrive at the Law of Death Denial. Meditate on our common mortality. The knowledge that we're all going to die is so terrifying that we spend most of our lives trying to ignore it. But ignoring it has a huge cost. It makes us lazy and complacent, causing us to waste our precious time on things that don't matter. Confronting the reality of death is the ultimate source of meaning and urgency. When you meditate on the fact that life is temporary, it forces you to clarify what's truly important. The fear of death gets replaced by a love of life. You stop putting things off and you start living with focus, purpose, and a deep appreciation for every single moment. CTA NAMP, conclusion, and there you have it, all 18 of Robert Greene's laws of human nature. Knowing these laws is step one. The real magic happens when you start observing them in the world and applying them in your own life. If this summary gave you a new way of looking at things, Do us a favor and hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the most powerful ideas out there. And let us know in the comments which law hit you the hardest. Remember, human nature isn't something to be afraid of. It's something to be understood. By mastering these principles, you're not just learning about other people, you're learning to master yourself. You're getting the tools to build better relationships, avoid pointless conflicts, and lead a more strategic and meaningful life. You now have the advantage. Use it wisely.